As you may know, class design is a field that I'm pretty knowledgeable in. I made a whole video about why it's important and everything. You should go check that out. Anyways, I asked you! Yes, you! To give me your classes so I could tear them to shreds. Only if they suck though. If they're in the mid to good range, I'll just give some constructive criticism. Oh, and also, if I genuinely couldn't understand your submission and had to fill in a bunch of gaps, I probably won't include it unless it was really funny. Let's just jump into it.
Passive exploit Scripty is able to go through killer walls but at the cost of being slowed and highlighted afterwards for 1 second for being slowed and 1.75 seconds for being highlighted. Ability 1 enemy Scripty will use their commands and show the killer's name in yellow and tell them how far away they are to all survivors for 3.5 seconds. 20-second cooldown. Ability 2 Knocklip Scripty uses a command to knocklip through walls for 5 seconds but at the cost of receiving 15% more damage. If the knocklip ends while Scripty is in a wall, it will kick them and teleport them to the nearest standable surface. 30-second cooldown.
This kit has a pretty neat core idea of breaking the core mechanics of the game. Being able to pass through killer walls at a cost could lead to a lot of neat interactions between the killer and the survivor. My main issue is their first active, which I feel doesn't really fit the rest of their kit. I also feel like there could be a lot of conflicts between the passive and no clip, since both let you pass through walls. No clip could also cause a lot of issues with verticality, since you aren't exactly going to know what counts as a wall all the time. What I would personally do to improve the kit is axe the first active and replace it with the ability to electrify the killer doors for a bit, which will either blind or slow them. I'd also make it so it highlights the specific walls you're allowed to no clip through, so with that it doesn't allow for breaking out of the map in any way.
2/10 70, stamina 7/10 1.1, efficiency 7/10 120%, stealth 4/10 17.2 bar 25.2, speed passives. Completing a task lights a candle on Flake's head caps at 8. Lit candles increase Flake's vision in dark places. Completing a floor gives Flake 2 balloons caps at 4. Active 1. Cooldown. 60 seconds used to drop a gift item. The rarity is dependent on the amount of lit candles. Gift items allow the player to choose any item of the same rarity as the gift. Active 2. Cooldown. 15 seconds, used to put the balloon on a machine, adding a permanent 1/5x progress boost to it and 50% stealth buff to anyone working on it.
The concept of gaining resources and buffing machines is actually pretty cool. I can imagine a pretty neat playstyle here where they run around the map and identify more dangerous locations to buff. The candles and gift boxes are okay in concept, but being able to choose from a pool of any item of a specific rarity is just inherently broken no matter how you balance it. It also doesn't have a reason to not use it at any point. At the very least, you can make the item that gives random with more candles, giving it a higher chance to be better tier. The balloons are a really good concept. I think it's a good mechanic, though I would personally give them a higher balloon cap and let them stack balloons on machines to increase the buffs even more.
Gains sprint speed and loses walk speed based on fear. The more fear you have, the lower your walk speed is and the higher your sprint speed is. Has an ability that instantly sets fear to its maximum amount.
I can't really do anything here since I don't have much to work with. They didn't even give me the playstyle they were going for. They just said, I don't know. They don't explain what fear does outside of you having it, and I assume it being a bad thing. What is the penalty for getting fear? Why do you have an entire ability that maxes it out for speed? Please elaborate on what your mechanics actually do. I literally can't judge your fucking kit.
3 moves. 1 places a wall. 15-second cooldown and raises by 5 seconds with each wall placed. No limit to the wall placements, only players can go through it. 5 attacks to down. The second is a teleporter. Can only place 2 and has a short cooldown. Takes 1 hit to down. Third move is a grab and move. Pretty self-explanatory. Can't move walls, only destroy them. And teleports are disabled when you grab it. Enemies can destroy the builds.
The main issue here is that there's no cap to the amount of walls you can place, and also no reason to ever not place a wall. Either limit the amount of walls you can place or make a resource you need to manage to place the walls. The teleporters are good, but grab and move needs to be streamlined. You can't move walls, so you can't even move 50% of your kit. It'd be better if either placing a teleporter removed the oldest one, or being near a teleporter and using your teleporter ability would let you destroy the teleporter and refresh the cooldown. You need to streamline this stuff.
4/10 stamina 3/10 efficiency 6/10 stealth 7/10 speed active. Carmilla jumps off her glass, becoming invisible but unable to interact with anything. To jump back in, interact with the glass. 30 seconds cooldown after getting back in the glass. Passive. Instead of crouching, Carmilla can hide inside her glass, making her completely invincible but unable to move. Hiding takes about 1 second.
This kit is pretty alright as a base. The passive should have a much longer cooldown, and the active should let you interact with everything but tasks. The passive should also have some stamina burn so it has a bit more depth. Other than that, the kit could really use an extra ability or two to really bring it together. Good job!
M1, swipe CTRLX, Y0 or cut, a simple swing with one of its arms, claws ripping their way out of the muddle to attack the target. Ability 1, view plugins CTRLA, WH3 Ray R3 Y0U, render pulls up a console panel, running a command that raises the transparency of all walls on the map for itself, highlighting all players slightly and making it able to see through walls for 8 seconds. There is a sound cue. However, survivors cannot see through the walls like you can during this ability. Ability 2, copy-paste CTRL-C CTRL-V, M0 Ray More 3, L3 TSG3 TM0 Ray, render grabs himself using the studio movement tool, dashing himself forward rapidly. If he collides with a survivor, he jams his arm into them before rapidly copy-pasting parts from its arm. This deals much more damage than its M1. However, if it misses, then it is stunned for a time, and if it is stunned while dashing, the stun duration is longer than the landed stun would normally last. Ability 3, remove object G3T out 0F my way, render slams his fist in front of him. If it hits an object, it becomes transparent and its collision is disabled for render. Note, this only works on certain objects, which are highlighted when render is near them. The object stays in this state for 40 seconds or until render gets more than 70 studs walking distance, not actual distance, away from the object. Only up to 2 objects can be affected, at which point trying to use it again removes the effect from the one closest to expiring.
Render is pretty cool in concept, but I have a few notes. First off, remove object should be a radius effect instead of targeting directly in front of you, since it'd be more useful. And also due to reading better, since a punch not dealing damage just doesn't really make sense. Secondly, they don't really work that well as a rushdown with their first and third abilities. They're much more fitting of a trap or a chaser. Lastly, they really need a fourth ability to round out their kit and make it feel complete. One other thing I should mention is, remember Scripty? Scripty actually works pretty well as a foil to this kit. You guys should collab or something, or make out. I don't fucking... Good job. Just needs a little work.
HP1, SC5, MS2, STEM2, STL5, S2, pop-up, active. Swap your skill check with movement speed and swap your stealth with stamina. Use it again to return to normal. Cooldown 60s. Jester passive. When your active is used, reduce stealth to -40.00.
Oh, baby, we got a stinker! We got a stinker in here! First off, if the active, swapping stamina and stealth means you lose stamina. And a lot of it at that. Stamina that will take a while to get back. The passive is also just more of the active. This has the same issue as Squiddle from Toon Universe, where they only have one ability arbitrarily spread across 2 slots, when they could have just had one ability instead that does the same thing. Also, they only have 1 HP for some reason. I legit have no idea why, since this is for Dandy's World, and that means they're literally a one-hit kill for no reason. This kit fucking sucks! Okay, I need to read this one off myself. This is amazing. Preparing form, spawn 4 zombies, switch, control a zombie, the dirt thrower, dirt throw, you throw dirt, and if the dirt hits someone, it deals 10 damage. The hidden, you can't see me. The more far away you are from a guy, you become more transparent. The mystery, guess who is it? On death, you become a random zombie. The speedster, drop kick. You do a drop kick that deals 4 damage. And their moveset is Trapper, I guess. Gold stars. This is fucking peak. I love that.
Backup plan active. Uses 20% battery HP for this character to get an 80% speed boost for 3 seconds and regains 50 stamina. Cooldown of 40 seconds overcharge. Passive. When picking up a battery item at full battery, gain a 30% speed boost but lose 3 battery every second until you go back to 100% or lower, in which the speed boost shall end. Metal frame. Passive. Cannot be healed by anything that isn't a battery or battery producing items as they use battery as HP. It's meant to be the downside to using battery instead of HP. Transferal surge. Active. Creates a surge of electricity to push entities away and slow the entities down. The surge is aimed at the direction you're facing and lasts for 3 seconds. Cooldown of 50 seconds.
This kit has 2 major issues. First, their active is entirely useless. Why would you spend your precious health in order to get a speed boost when you could just run away and risk getting hit instead? The cost of the first ability is way too high. Also, keep in mind, you have an ability that serves the same function as this, but instead slows the enemy at no cost to your battery. Secondly, overcharge kind of conflicts with the first active. It encourages you to keep your health high, which means you should actively not use the ability that makes this ability harder to use. The 2 other abilities are serviceable. I feel with some reworks to the first 2 abilities, the kit could work much better.
HP 300 for context. Base survivor HP in this 200, so this would be equal to 150 SP, 100 walk speed, 12 sprint speed, 26 passive. Decomposing heals are 50% less effective. For each duplicate rotten rube in the server, lower max HP by 25. Ability 1. Great Sword. Swing your great sword forward in a large area, dealing 40 DMG and stunning the killer for 3.5 seconds on hit. Ability 2. Hilt bash forward, applying heavy knockback and stunning the killer for 0.5 seconds on hit. Missing this ability applies slug II to yourself for 3 seconds. Ability 3. Heavy blow. Do a large overhead swing that creates a shockwave that applies slug II to the killer for 4 seconds on hit. A direct hit with the great sword itself stuns for 4 seconds. You have slug II for 6 seconds after using this ability.
This kit actually works pretty well. My 2 suggestions are add a cap to the stacking penalty and remove or rework Greatsword since it's made redundant by the other 2 abilities. The healing inefficiency is also pretty bad because it directly encourages healers to avoid healing Rotten Rube. I do like the perks, by the way. I think they're pretty cool. Other than that, good job. A for effort. Alright, let's rank these fuckers from worst to best. Number 10 I'd say is Fear Guy. Explain your fucking mechanics next time, I swear to God. Number 9 is Jack. They have terrible kit design for terrible people. Number 8 is Zombie Man. The Dirt Thrower. Dirt throw. You throw dirt and if the dirt hits someone, it deals 10 damage. Number 7 is Engineer Guy. I don't have a funny quip here. Number 6 is Scripty. Get out of here, Skid. Number 5 is Render. Now kiss Scripty. I want ship out of them now! Number 4 is Flake. It's close, but needs some work. Number 3 is Battery Guy. He's cool. Yeah. Number 2 is Carmella. You did a good job with the 2 ability cap you were given. Number 1 is Rotten Rube. I can see the effort put into the kit, it just needs a little more work. That's all the kits for this video. I'll be splitting this into multiple parts, and yes, the rankings will stay between episodes. I'll be reopening the forum once the initial batch is over with. Again, if I didn't include your kit, I'm either saving it for later or skipped it because it was formatted horribly. I'm looking at you, Big Bob Rework. You've just made another enemy. Bye! Sleepy?
This is Baldy's sister, Susan.
Who the fuck? Where the fuck are you getting this shit from? What the fuck?
You don't remember Susan Baltimore?
Who the fuck is Susan?
It's Susan Baltimore.
Oh my fucking god. Who the fuck
she's coming out in the full release.
Who is this?
She's coming out in the full release, Carson. You don't remember Susan Baltimore?
Who the fuck is Susan?
I don't